Hey guys, welcome back to Olivia's Blooms. Today I am going to be giving you a tour of my vegetable garden, and it is mid-August getting on to late August, and I am gardening, for those who are new, in Zone 7A in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I just wanted to show you what's going on in my vegetable garden today. I did not clean up the garden or anything for you guys or pull out whatever was looking bad. I wanted to show you just exactly what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. I woke up and this is what it looked like. So, you know, pardon the mess. But I thought you might enjoy just taking a peek at what's growing. So let's go take a close look. Okay, we're starting here in the corner. Here's the fence that leads into my vegetable garden. And here's my retractable hose, which I love having. It's been a game changer. And just a quick view, oh gosh, this is lovely corner over here. Here's the bucket we've been using to kill Japanese beetles, one of my flower buckets. You know the drill, but here's the timer I use for my drip system in case you're curious. It's got 4 ports. I'm only using one right now, but I might expand to do more in the future. A couple other quick notes. Down here is my drip system. Now when I built this vegetable garden last July, it was end of July, early August, so almost exactly 1 year old, I used the wood chips that were produced when we took down some of the trees that were dead, and I used that as my floor. Now I definitely need to add more. It has sunk a lot. I had a pretty thick layer back last year, but I'm going to be adding more here soon. So the drip tubing will not typically be exposed, the supply line there. But quick kind of look from this corner. I have several large trellises that my wonderful husband got me as a present. And I've been trying to use them for vertical space and just to make it feel a little more magical while you're walking through. In my first bed here, this is where I had my cucumbers early in the summer. These vines are not doing well, the ones that are left. I took most of them out. They've been pretty decimated by cucumber beetles. You can see I'm gonna have to pull those out here soon. But I got a really decent amount of cucumbers out of these. I also planted at the same time of the cucumbers Ruby Moon Hyacinth Bean. I only have 2, one there and one there. And it has covered this trellis with beautiful leaves and blooms. So up here you can see the purple blooms, and then what they leave behind are these really cool purple pods. And I'm gonna experiment with drying these and maybe using them in some fresh bouquets. I haven't done that yet, but I just think they're so pretty. Now, in my previous video, I started some beets. Here's a little update on how they're doing. Oh, do you like my shadow? Here's my red beets. Doing pretty well. And my golden beets, I don't have quite as many, but that's okay. I might do another succession of those, we'll see. Here I have my Mizuna, which is a mustard green. And I've got some volunteer carrots. I had some carrots that volunteered here earlier this year that I just let go to seed, and I use them in flower arrangements. And you can tell some of the seeds here are growing, so hey, free carrots. Here I've got some snap peas. And this cucumber variety here is a variety my beautiful sister in New York got me called Pickle Bush, and I've been getting these balls, and I've made pickle balls, and they've been really fun and delicious, so I enjoyed those. In the next bed, I had my ornamental corn, and that was so fun to grow. I am definitely doing that again. You can see I left the stalks here in the ground just to decompose over time and leave some organic matter in the soil. And then here's the other side of the peas. These two look like they're getting eaten by something. Oh well. And these are gonna grow up this trellis here. This is just a wooden, inexpensive trellis. And I've sown, but not up yet, some kale and some spinach. Oh, wait, I might have one little kale coming up. I do. How exciting. And more volunteer carrots. Oh, yep, there's more kale. Back here, I was so excited about this. I haven't gotten any yet, and I'm fingers crossed that I get some, but I have some, let's see, I think it's the butternutt squash. And I've got some leaves here. I've got a few blooms, but I haven't gotten any squash yet, so I'm hopeful. Still a lot of blooms coming on, so we'll see. And I want to grow that up this side of the trellis. I also have 2 tomatoes that desperately need to be staked. These are, oh gosh, what was the variety? Black Pearl tomatoes. And then here I have my bell peppers that have not been doing great. They're finally starting to look healthy, so maybe I'll get some more, but the bell peppers I've been getting off these have not been very big or very healthy. You can see that one there. Now my beds are 4x8, so one square is a 4x4, and there's 2 side by side that make it 4x8. These were so easy to put together. I'll put the link to them below, and these are cedar beds. Next bed is my tomato forest, and I have to say, this has been an experience. I planted only about 12 plants in a 4x4 bed. I put up, I think it's four of these wooden trellises, and I've just been letting them grow up through the trellis. I have not really been pruning them much. I pruned them a little bit in the beginning, and I will say I am feeling mixed about this because harvesting has been a bit of a nightmare. Would you like to reach in here and get a tomato? It's not easy. It's been a little bit of an experience. You have to be a bit of a contortionist to harvest the tomatoes in here, but the tomatoes have been doing fantastic. I have had so many tomatoes, and I have 4 varieties growing right now. I have the Pink Tiger. Here's a look at those. I have beefsteak variety Black Crim, and those have been really great. You can see a big green one. Can you see it? Where is it? There it is. A big green one right there. Those were delicious. I also have Berry's Crazy Cherry. So yummy. We've been eating these fresh, just little cherry tomatoes. I'm definitely growing those again. And then Romas, which I've been canning and using for sauce. Here is a lovely, lovely big bunch of celosia that seeded itself, and I have this happened in my old garden too. I had this red celosia. I only had about 2 plants here that I bought from the store that I planted in the fall last year, and it just reseeded itself, and I'm not complaining. First of all, the leaves shimmer. They're almost luminescent, and these make great cut flowers too. And this is my rain barrel and some old gross tomatoes. Told you I wasn't cleaning up for you. I try and capture rain and use it as much as I can, especially for fertilizing. Also, you probably can't see it very well, but under here I planted a couple pole beans. Those are just starting to flower, and they're climbing up the other side of my trellis. And I've never grown pole beans before, and I'm very excited to try them. And then in this last bed, it was sort of an afterthought. I had my spring planted stock in here, and I knew it was going to be empty until the fall, and so I threw in these branching sunflowers, and they have been a joy. These are the Chocolat. You can see it. The bees have been loving it, and I've gotten so many cuts off these already, and there's still a ton more blooming. I also grew in this shady corner here, very specifically, some cilantro, which you can see here, it's gone to seed. It's really hard to grow here in the south in the heat. It tends to bolt very quickly, but it's doing okay back here. And if it goes to seed, I'll just collect the seed and use it as coriander. Also an afterthought, but something that has given me a ton of food here is a couple yellow squash seeds I threw in the ground, and I threw these in the ground because I wanted them to be a trap crop for squash bugs. We get those very badly around here, and I didn't want the squash bugs on my decorative pumpkins and my butterscotch butternut squash. So I just threw these in here thinking if I get some food, that's a bonus. So here's where the squash starts. It has grown all the way over there. And I have harvested a ton of yellow squash off of this. There's a little one growing right there. And the bees love it. I'll just show you a little bee over here. But it's made it a little hard to get around. So just beware, if you plant yellow squash, there's another little one growing. There's some bees having a good time. Love seeing bees in the garden. So I'm just letting these squash do their thing and enjoying the food I'm getting out of it. And then I have one eggplant here. My eggplant has done terribly this year. I haven't gotten a single eggplant yet. The black bean aphids just ate every single eggplant that I had. Now, coming around here, the other side of the bed I was just showing you, I threw in some basil. This is where I had all my ranunculus that did really well. And I love, love, love making pesto and basil salad dressing and basil tea. I don't think I can have enough basil. I like using basil in bouquets. So here's just some basil. This is Genovese that I've been using for culinary purposes. Here's another look at that squash. Can you believe that? One seed right there. And it's grown all the way through my path. Next is I have this little tiny patch of dirt that gets sun right next to my house that I wanted to use for cut flowers. So I threw in straw flowers this year and they have loved this spot. Everything I've planted in this spot has done really well. I planted gomphrena here last fall. I don't know what it is about this spot, whether or not the house reflects some heat, but something I really want to succeed is what I'll plant here next year. And then my herb garden, my herb area, these are all in containers, mainly because mint is a little invasive. Here's all my herbs. This is the best smelling part of my garden. Back here is just some astilbe that was beautiful. This is the Visions astilbe and it likes this little shady corner. Right now it's all brown and not looking great, but I do have these volunteer little violas and I've been picking these little edible flowers and using them. Aren't they so cute? What a nice little surprise. Okay. My next bed is asparagus, and I actually am not a huge fan of asparagus, but my husband is, and it's gone a little bit wild. I have one second-year asparagus right here. This is the big one that a friend's coworker gave me, and I started some more from seed, so we probably won't get asparagus cuts off of these guys for another year or so, but next year I might get some off of this plant, so that'll be exciting. I also wanted to show you, I had some strawberries that tried to move into the bed next door, and I just clipped them off and potted them up. So I will use these either to plant my new area or I'll share them with some friends. Next in this bed with the asparagus, I'll show you this volunteer. Oh my gosh, what is the word for this herb? Parsley that has gone to seed right here, and I'm just letting it go to seed because I don't mind if it self-seeds. I don't think you can have enough parsley. Next in this bed is my fall crop of beans. They are doing really well. It's a bean mix. I have Blue Lake bush beans and some red and yellow beans. These are all bush beans. I will be eating those fresh and pickling some of those here, oh, and I need to start staking these up, but thank you for climbing on your own. I have my cowpeas. First time I've ever grown cowpeas, also known as black-eyed peas. And I'm gonna grow those up this trellis. And doing really well are my sweet banana peppers. I just picked a ton off of this, and look, it still has so many more. I've got 3 of these plants. I probably only needed 1, but hey, I'll pickle some extra and we'll have them throughout the year. And then I have 1 poblano that hasn't flowered or fruited yet, but there's still time. This banana pepper is not doing great. This is where I plan to put my cauliflower that I have growing. And you'll see little marigolds throughout my garden. These were just hopefully to help repel insects, and also they're just cute. This is a weed. Get out of my garden. You've probably seen many times my strawberry patch. The strawberries are doing a little too well, taking over. And some zinnias, and I just seeded in my previous video some cress in here for cutting. This bed is where I had my onions and garlic, and I am going to be planting my carrots in here. You can see my first succession here, and it's almost time to do my second. Where are you guys? Yep, see there's the little true leaves coming out. Nice row of carrots. I'll put my second succession right next to it. And back in the corner there is beautiful parsley, flat leaf. I've been eating off of that. And again, see the strawberries trying to move in? They just don't want to stay in their own bed. My snapdragons, I have been cutting off these non-stop. These were the Potomac mix, and I also sprinkled in some Maryland plum blossom and a few of the Madame Butterfly cherry bronze, or Madame Butterfly if you prefer. Here's the Madame Butterfly. You can tell they're really frilly. These smell like bubblegum. Oh, wish you could smell it. Next bed is where I had my spring crop of beets. I also had some parsnips and some leftover onions in this bed. I pulled out all the onions, and a lot of my beets from the spring did not get very big, so I left them in the ground. We'll see if they get any bigger. Right here I just noticed an evil little caterpillar that's probably moving along, eating all my beautiful plants. But I did just sow in here a bunch of lettuce, and I love having fresh lettuce in the fall and spring. See it just starting to come up? This is a Rocky Top lettuce mix from Baker Creek. So yummy. And then over here, I have a bunch of romaine lettuce, which is my mom's favorite, but I love it too. You can see it just starting to come up. And here I am very excited is a full sown crop of sweet corn. This is a 60-day corn, and it came up beautifully. I did an earlier crop of sweet corn, another short day, and I didn't get great pollination, but I'm starting to see more bees. And you can see the ears starting to form here. I'm very excited. I think we'll have some good ears off of these plants. They look like they're doing well. And then when these are done here in the next few weeks, I will be planting my fall garlic in this bed. This bed is where I had my potatoes, and they did wonderfully. That was really fun to grow. I sowed here my shelling peas that I'm really hoping do well. That's the most delicious thing I've ever had from my garden is a shelling pea. So fingers crossed these do well. I also direct sowed some cabbage, and you can see I've only got one so far, but that's okay because I'm gonna be sowing another type of winter cabbage as well. And I don't need tons and tons of cabbage, but hopefully, fingers crossed, some more of those will come up. And then this monster is a mini pumpkin. I had a mini pumpkin mix that I threw in here because I thought it would be fun for fall decorating. And it has just been very prolific. You can see it's starting to climb up the trellises. I'm gonna keep trying to train it up, but here's a peek. And it was a surprise what kind of pumpkins these were because it was a mix, but it looks like we've just got the little mini orange ones, and I am not sad about that. Here's the bees getting to work pollinating these. And I have a fused one over here that looks pretty funny. I'm sure my kids will get a kick out of that. Here's a double pumpkin. But I'm enjoying that, and I think it's fun to grow home decor in addition to food and flowers. Oh, and I forgot, this bed right here are my sweet potatoes, and I love sweet potatoes. These should be ready soon, so I'm gonna try and harvest these in a video with you guys. But they're looking so happy. And fingers crossed we get a lot of beautiful sweet potatoes. This is the Centennial variety, and I grew these from slips, which are tiny little plants that were sent in the mail. So that is my garden, my vegetable garden, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I love being out here. This is one of my happy places. And I hope you had as much fun touring it as I did today. Thanks for joining me, guys. That's a weird thing to say. Ouch. Like something just stung me. Ow. I just got stung by a bee. That hurts. Okay.